Welcome everybody, welcome to Kendo Tips. My name is Jose. I'm a Golden Kendo. Oh, sorry, I had a little bit of feedback there. I'm a Golden in Kendo, and today we're gonna be watching some Kendo videos, learning from the videos we'll be watching, hopefully improving our Kendo through a little bit of analysis. And if you have any questions, you can send them my way. I'll try to answer them the best I can. Now, I'm trying to figure out because for some reason you guys are not getting some of the audio out. And this is what happens, I guess, when I don't stream for a week. By the way, I'm sorry, guys, I couldn't stream last weekend. I was out of town and I didn't have neither the space to do it or the internet connection. So sorry about that. How has your Kendo weeks been? I hope you guys have gotten some good training and yeah, ready for the next week. Are any new events coming your way? I would like to know. Today, in the past few streams, I'll be focusing on basics. So today, what I want to do is I want to start focusing a little bit more on Shiai as well, because I haven't done that for a couple of weeks. And I chose this past, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, right? The 7-dan All Japan tournament. And I love to watch this tournament in general because there's a big mixture. It's a big mix between power, speed, and technique, and a lot of communication. So my focus today will be to kind of watch about approach and moment of attack. So this will be my main focus today. Of course, if you have any questions about anything else, let me know. Like send them my way. And yeah. Okay, let me catch up a little bit. More rice. How you doing, man? Man, I have to go up there to practice with you. So you said SUSKF trials coming up soon. You're pumped for it. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I saw the announcement for it. That's exciting. They're gonna do all the tryouts together, right? So let me know how that goes. That'll be cool to know, to kind of see how everything is progressing. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure that I don't think you guys are getting any music, so I'm a little bit concerned to see if you guys are gonna get audio from the video. So give me 1 second, see if I can fix that. I don't know what. Let me see. Okay, I think I know what it is. For some reason, my software is not sending. Let me see. Test. You saying no music, but sometimes the music is distracting. But any kind of tips and better than nothing at all. Thank you. So the purpose I put the music on is because sometimes there's like random noises around, and it does help, especially for editing after, to kind of make the sound make a little bit better. And sometimes the computer starts like ramping up, and yeah, it's kind of sucks. Gaz, welcome to the stream. Thank you for passing by. By the way, guys, if you haven't, please hit the like button. It really helps the stream to get pushed out to more people. And yeah, it will be a good way to let me know that you're here. Let me know. Do you get any music in there by any chance? I'm mainly concerned because if you're not getting music, you're probably not gonna get sound in the video. Okay, Jan, how you doing, man? Thank you for passing by. You're back using the notebook from work, so you might have less lagging issues. Okay, so that's good. That's good. Yeah, I think the lag issues are on your end, to be honest, because you're the only one that tells me about this, or maybe the connection in Germany or something. Um, Let me see something. Okay, test. You guys hear me? But okay, so no music. This is annoying. Let me play a video. Play the video. Okay. So by the way, this is the bracket of the tournament that we're gonna be watching today. We're not gonna be watching all the matches, and as a matter of fact, there are more matches than in the video. As a matter of fact, what I will do is I'll put the video on the links if anybody wants to watch it on their own at some point. Let me do that. I want to remind you guys, if you would like to send me some videos that we can watch here, analyze, give you my feedback, and we can all learn, you can do so by sending it to me at the Discord server, which I'm going to put the link coming up. Let me know if you guys hear the video. I don't think you do. Yeah, I figured. Not sound from the video. There was a big drama at the beginning, so if nobody said anything early on, I figure that was it. So let me see. Oh, dude, I think I figured it out. I think I figured it out. Okay. Let me see. You should be getting music now. There should be some annoying music at the back. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I'm not putting the music too high. This is not a music stream, so yeah, I'm not concerned about how high the music is. I'm just concerned that you guys can hear it. So at least, oh, I got more silent. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry that this is happening like this. I guess I made a mistake when I was fixing it up before, but okay, now it should be fine. Now my volume should be okay. Um, Perfect. And you should also hear the video, correct? There's some commentary there too. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for being patient here. Okay, so this video, I'm just gonna, because I don't want to be, banned for copyright issues. This is from Enjoy Kendo Seriously. I don't know if you guys can see this right now because I'm still have a mess on my. Yeah, the video is from Enjoy Kendo Seriously. I think it's a cool channel. You can actually go check it out. They have a couple interesting videos, and they cover the 10th All Japan Kendo 7-Dan Championship, which I don't understand why the All Japan Kendo Federation didn't post anything. So this was weird, but very interesting match. Very interesting lineup that ended up making it to the top, and we have Kiwara, Uchimura, and Hashimoto, which are probably the ones that are the most recognizable from this lineup. But again, amazing participants, and I hope you guys enjoy this today. Jake, welcome to the stream. Ash as well. Nicholas, thank you for passing by. So let's get it. Again, my focus today is going to be the approach towards the opponent and the opportunity, the moment of engagement. So when is the right time to strike and what is done to close the distance? So anything you notice, feel free to let them put them down in the comments. And if you want to just analyze something else, you want to break down something else, just let me know, and I'll pass it back, and I'll pause it and put it back. Okay. Nicholas, so you said the Kendo Promotion Association has the right to it. So that's interesting. This is a lot of a bureaucracy, I guess, that I'm not aware of. So thank you for clarifying that. It's interesting how this channel puts it there. I wonder if they're gonna get like copyright strike or something. Anyways. Very powerful strike, very powerful strike. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let it play out for a little bit, and then we'll go back to a couple of the interesting points. Ooh, nice approach for the kota main. Okay, I think it's a good point to kind of break down. There's a couple of things that I noticed here that I really like how the engagement is happening. Right here, there was a very strong man from white. No, not this one. Hold on. So this point right here. Okay, so what's this one right here? So I feel that this was very surprising in the sense of he was able to accelerate very quickly, but I feel that it has a little bit of a setup before he does that, right? He doesn't just blindly go in. And if you notice a little bit what's happening before, so when you're in your practice, obviously you're trying to be not tricky at all, right? So we try to say, okay, I'm not gonna be like doing like just weird motions to get a reaction and then attacking. But how do I say this? Obviously, when you're in Shia, you want to try to use all your weapons, all your tools to make an opening. And a little bit of what we're seeing here, it's a little bit of the use of the body and the sword at the same time to kind of create a reaction from the opponent. And it's very interesting to see how he does it. Let me play a little bit slower. You see, he does a sharp motion before. And this is something that I've been talking about in the past couple of streams about making a step without cutting the momentum. So many people, when they take that first step to get a reaction, they just land flat-footed, but there's no continuation. They have to start from zero to throw the attack. But here, even though that he was very fast accelerating from that step, the speed or the momentum that was coming from that first step helped them do this. So watch. Oh, hold on, let me just... Let's see. Let's start from here. So, watch. He steps sharply and then throws a technique. If you want to watch it in real time. So that first step, you don't, okay, Jan, you said it can make you predictable. Okay, and this is the point where I'm trying to get. So yeah, maybe especially at this level, the other sensei was able to read him out. And you're correct. There's a very thin line for me. So you don't want to come in with a step that you already made the decision that you're going to attack from back there. The point is to make the first step and still be able to capture some of that momentum to keep going if you need to. I am fully confident. I'm confident that that first step he took, if he would have wanted to, he didn't have to commit to a technique. He didn't have to attack. And this is the point where I'm trying to make. So, because it's a fine line, but I think that most people tend to have problems taking that first step. Okay, the biggest problem I see is people, they take the first step, they fully stop, and then they try to re-engage to go forward for an attack. The other side of the spectrum is to come in just directly from one step and then attacking. But the way that he's doing it here is that he's taking that step, he's allowing that momentum to still be there, and if he needs to go, then he engages into a technique. But if he doesn't want to go, he can hold himself back. This is the point. I realize that, this is not the perfect example because he didn't score. But what I wanted to point out here is the change of timing. What that does, having that ability, is that it allows you to change the timing. So it's kind of like if you're in a car, like you accelerate first and then you put it in neutral, but you didn't shift down the gear. Or maybe you shift down the gear so you can accelerate, but you didn't put it in neutral, right? You're like, just put the clutch down. I don't know if that makes sense. Sorry. I said so many things that I kind of lost track. Okay. So it's kind of like you start accelerating and then you put the gear so you can accelerate, but you have the clutch in for those of us that drive manual, right? And then when you let go, you can keep going, but it's different than just shifting down and put it in neutral from the stick. That's what I meant to say, like clutch and neutral. Okay, so you only draw automatically. I'll try to think about a different analogy, but I hope that makes sense. So the main thing that I'm trying to say here is that you want to be able to use your footwork to your advantage continuously. You don't want to just one step separated from the other. I feel that there's a connection between the first step and the second step. So you could see that this first step that he took, so from here, the first step you can clearly see is a complete step. And he does stop, but look what happens with the foot. Starts kind of like sliding in. He can bring that down if he doesn't want to go, but he decides to go. Actually, he goes down and actually helps him manipulate the timing a little bit, but he doesn't put it down heavily. He does a little hold, and then he engages into a technique. So, I don't know. This is just a little detail that I noticed here, and I wanted to share that with you because it is key, as Nick says, learning how to manipulate the timing, not to have just one timing in your attacks, and being able to make it difficult for the opponent to guess when is it that you're going to make it to your final destination, I guess. Hope that makes sense. Let me know down in the comments, please, if you do it differently or if you have any other different points of view. That'll be interesting. Okay. Now, for me, this was a very confident attack. And even though it wasn't successful, it does have an effect on, on the rhythm of the match. But what he does after kind of like brings it down. So it's kind of like he attacked in position, but he missed completely. And I feel that this kind of could have an effect mentally on your match. I'm saying this not because I think that this is what happened with him. It's because sometimes this is what happens to us as we're fighting. When we start missing, we start doubting ourselves. And that's one of the things that you want to kind of be careful with. So that way you keep your mental state solid,
どうなんでしょう。いや、緊張してると思いますね。いきなりでもね、と思いますよね。そうですね。いきなりいいなって思ってると思います。3試合目がいいなみたいなね。 いや、絶対持ってると思います。
If you see this approach from Brett,
そうですね。いきなりいいなって思う。
he kind of tried a little bit of the same, right? He pushed in with the footwork lightly. So one thing that I started picking up when it comes to approaching your opponent is the necessity of you to have light footwork. You cannot be heavy on your feet.
いや、絶対持ってると思います。
So a lot of times you see this and you'll think, oh, they're really fast, they move really fast, and you try to emulate this and try to move fast, and you waste a lot of energy.
武道館は
A lot of the things is not that they're moving fast, is that they're moving lightly, so it's easy for them to move, right? And this is why you should break things down on your own at the dojo to then be able to do it easier.
そうですね。
This one, again, it's a very, very good technique to have in your repertoire, the kote men, look up from right.
県立武道館は
So very, very important. The good thing about this kote men that I enjoy, even though of course it wasn't successful, is the control of the footwork. So when you're doing kote men, especially when you're close to your opponent, you have to have good control of your footwork and the distancing of your footwork. Now, this kote men doesn't score, but look at the distance of the footwork. Kote, and then men, the men footwork is a little bit behind where the kote was.
やはり
So, and I say this because many times we are so focused on where we need to hit, that we need to hit continuously and forward and whatever, that we kind of lose track of where the target is and which part of our sword we have to strike with. But in order to have that effectively, you have to have your footwork in the right position. So, of course, again, this is not the best example because he didn't actually score, but just the fact that he had the stability to produce two techniques in such a short space, I think it's amazing and something that we need to put into our kendo.
まあ、狭いなりに良さというかですね、こうみんなが密でこう
Nick, you said some keynotes from this Taikai. Matsusaki Sensei looked the sharpest, but eventually injured in the quarterfinals. Oh, that sucks.
はいまあはい
いかがですか、試合に向けて。
もう少し橋本が仕掛けていくかなって思いましたけども、やはり初戦だからっていうのもあるのかなと思いますね。
木和田さん、やっぱりこうやって見ると大きいな。
大きいですね。
なんかもう決勝戦見てるかのような
本当ですよね。
全試合決勝みたいな感じ。
橋本さん逆
So it's interesting, right? Because at this level, their exchanges can be very fast and very powerful. And at the same time, a lot of technique is happening,
優勝した。
but also a lot of this
本当に木和田はこの
excess movements are happening because of the tension. So it happens in every level. And it's something that obviously you want to polish, but again, at the end of the day, you have to be attentive to your opponent and try to get them to make a mistake. So it's kind of tricky situation.
まだこの体格のなんか、ね、フィジカルが、まあ、2人とも強いんでしょうけど、大きいですもんね、木和田選手。
まあ、それほど多分橋本もその辺は気にはしていないとは思いますけどね。基本的に
So again, I always say this is the most dangerous position to start after, the fight is being engaged. And I really like, if you guys watch,
いいとは思います。
very, very cautious approach.
まあ、小さい選手は普段から大きい選手とやるので、
Now, something I want to say, because we're analyzing the approach into our opponent today, is that look at the body position for the left Kenshi, right? As he approaches, look at this point how much forward engagement there is, right? He's not leaning over, but you can tell that he's like so ready to move. He doesn't have to do too much in order to attack. It is very important to find a position in your kamae that would allow you to move instantly without any excess motions. And I think this could be a good moment to kind of start analyzing, because he is ready to go forward. Even though if he doesn't, he's ready to move forward. And then he starts approaching to kind of get a reaction from the opponent. But if you notice, again, he's sliding his right foot and the back foot is pushing in, is keeping that energy towards. Why? Because if he needs to explode, he will use this leg to move forward rather than readjust it. And if he has time and space, whatever, he will bring this back leg quickly in order to kind of re-engage in the distance and go forward. Jan, you practice with youngsters sometimes to use against taller opponent to step in front. But instead of putting down the right foot, bounce with the left twice and fly for Toby commitment. So let me make sure that I have the right image. So it's kind of like this motion, and then you bring the back foot quicker to go forward. Is that what I'm reading? For this, use the full momentum of the semi-step, and it's good practice for the left calf muscle. It is, however, a bit predictable if the opponent pays attention. Okay, Jan, I understood. So yeah, okay, so this is what I was trying to say with this example, right? That he's setting himself up to kind of do this as well here, right? We're on the same page, right? What I have to say, I know it's so strainful on, or like it's there's a lot of fatigue that happens on the calf. And what I'm personally trying to work on is to try to engage the whole leg, so as to not create so much tension on that calf, so I can, I don't fatigue, and then I can actually explode more, right? But yes, I know what you're saying. Totally.
まあ、小さい選手は普段から大きい選手とやるので、それほど気にならないですね。だから逆に大きい選手が自分より大きいと。
Discipline. Okay, I'm going to say yes and no about the ball of your feet, because you can have the ball of your feet, but if you, for example, if you bend the knee, you can not really have the proper engagement. So it's more than just about the ball of your feet. It's also about the engagement of the leg. So that's why, I always try to break it down. But yes, I know. But yes. And you see this a lot with people trying to emulate the kendo from like high school students in Japan, where they put the ball of the foot, but they break the knee. Sorry, I missed that ippon. Very, very, very nice approach. I don't know what you guys saw on this one. It's what I like about this man is not necessarily the execution of it, but what he did to come in and make the opening. So he engages on the proper distance. Now, one thing, actually, it's a conversation. I believe I mentioned it in the last stream. Maybe I didn't, but it's a conversation I had this past week, and I'm going to share it here. Let me see. Many people, when they engage into the distance, many people after they separate from Suba Serie, they end up kind of like at this distance, or maybe even if they're separated, they're not really ready until they get to this distance. If you notice the way that they're separating, and then from here, they're engaged towards the opponent, closing in with tension and with attention to each other. So if you look at this, they are separated, but at this point, they're fully aware. So if this is not something that is in your practice already, that you are engaged in kamae before your sword touches your opponents, something you need to start doing, because by the time you're too close, by the time that you bring the swords close, it could be too late for you to actually do anything, and you're gonna overreact and end up getting hit. So, hope that makes sense. And if you see, that's something very very, very visual here. Okay, let's watch in slow motion. Let's watch this Ippon in slow motion. So in this, yeah, and I think we had this conversation a while back, right? Like the whole thing about a feint and pressure and whatever. And I think that here is a perfect blend of both. And I really enjoy watching this level of kendo because of that. So he provided pressure by closing the distance, but then at the same time he moved his sword one way to make the person kind of open up, and I'm gonna call this a feint, right? And then he went around to hit the technique. Very interesting Ippon. So he went one side and then readjusted for that man. Very, very nice setup, very nice execution. Let's watch it one more time, regular speed.
方面、いいことでしたね。方面。
Now, let's break down a little bit the timing. This past week, I was practicing, I was helping somebody with do, right? And I mention always that for do, you have to make sure that you have a good opening. And sometimes he would just throw the hands up to try to get a reaction and then to try to do the do, which, okay, that's fine. But the problem ends up happening sometimes when you do it too fast, where the other person doesn't really register, or you do it too far with the wrong timing, and that doesn't really cause a reaction from the opponent. So in my opinion, one of the best ways to do that is using the support of your back leg as you're moving forward, and do these motions that way. Do these motions as you are in motion rather than do them and then move. Why? Because you can get the reaction and immediately execute your technique, but at the same time, it does make it realistic. It makes a realistic threat. So the opponent has to do something. So if you watch how he does it here, he comes in and he moves the sword as he is approaching. And then he does this again closer as a real attack. So then he can get the opening. Amazing, amazing execution and great timing on the approach. So let me know what you guys think. Discipline. The power in your left leg is like doing isometric and gain your glute. Quadriceps calf and raising your left heel no more than 30 degrees to create good tension for fumikiri. Actually, that's a very good visualization. Isometrics are actually very good as well. So, that's an idea for a video as well. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Jan, the right leg touched down once, similar to Yakudo footwork. Correct. Yeah, and I think this is what gave it the timing. Almost gave it the timing of a Nidan Waza, right? It kind of looked like men when it comes to that, because he had to re-engage. You're correct. He re-engaged the left leg after he did that. You see, right here. And then he re-engages for that man. Great execution. Great execution.
はい、ちょうど橋本選手が居ついてしまったところで攻められて、受けに出ようか、もしくは
Ooh. Okay. Not Nippon, but interesting nonetheless.
出ようか、
What happened here? So very, very cool approach for that Gyakudo. He used a little bit of his opponent's confidence and coming in, and maybe good timing to kind of like change the rhythm of the fight because he's below, so he wants to kind of like bring his confidence up or bring himself up into a match. So I think that was a good execution there
こうか打ちに行こうか
because he kind of made his opponent change his plan
そこに
on the fly.
連続技で、木原選手の面が入ったって感じですね。
これ時間の方は1試合
時間出てないですよね。
時間が出てないんですね、これはね。この時間帯で取るっていうのはどうなんでしょうかね。これ守りにはまあいかないでしょうね。
守ることはないと思いますけど、まあ行きます。
That was very, very smooth entry. Let's watch it one more time, obviously. Let's watch in slow motion.
守る
He's so good at those motions, right? To make his opponent open up with a fake attack. Interesting. So interesting. The angle on which he's coming in, look at the hands. This is very interesting. Look at the hands, how he approached that, right? So hello? Is it back? I think it's back, right? Hello? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. And PCs. Democritus, thank you for passing by. Okay, so what I'm saying on this exchange right here is that the edge of the sword is staying on the opponent. If you notice, he's approaching the opponent with the tip forward, the edge towards the opponent, and even though that his arms are in an awkward position, it's very easy when you have this intention to shift into the opponent, right? But if you have an opening where the tip is away from the opponent, or you even, instead of having the things forward, you kind of put it to the side, it's harder, number one, to have a quick turn into the opponent, a quick change to put the strike on the opponent, but it's also hard to have control of the sword if you miss. So one of the biggest things, especially for Suriage, right? I think this is very evident on Suriage, that many times in Suriage, people do like this, right? And then they have to come back to hit the kote. So, but instead, if you have your sword towards your opponent and you keep the intention towards your opponent rather than open it out like this, it's easier to come back into the technique. So one thing that I try to practice myself is to, every time that I go into any angles, try to keep that intention towards the opponent, so it's easier for me to come in and actually regain the center and be able to score. Hope that makes sense. Galaxy, thank you for passing by. Welcome to the stream. Okay. Jan, you're saying yes, and it's harder to hit your kote if you do kote suriage men. Yes, correct. Because again, you're giving less of a target area. So yeah, totally. But great approach here. Great approach.
ないと思いますけど。
Okay, guys. So obviously, because this stream was 4 hours, we're not gonna be here for 4 hours. I'm going to jump up to the bracket fights. So you just saw who was fighting on this fight? Okay. I think that's Kiwada, right? Kiwada, which is the this. Oh, we just had a new subscriber, Liu Gorchan. Thank you for passing by if you're here in the stream, and thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. I think it's Kiwada, right? Jan, you're better at kanji than I am. I believe this is Kiwada. So, yes, from Osaka. So, okay, so what I want to do is I want to jump up to the bracket fights. And this one right here is going to be the first fight of the bracket, which is Hashimoto and Tomoe. Tomoe, it's the Kenshi that actually ended up winning it. So we'll watch the winner. And we'll see how much time we can keep this going before I have to go to practice. Discipline. Some kendoka relax their tenouchi after their suriage and their tip doesn't stay on their opponent. I believe it. Yeah. Okay. So I was looking at his back foot, right? Look at the ability to move so small, and so like always being engaged. So again, let's watch this kote one more time. Let's watch it slow motion. Look how he approaches the opponent. He's coming in with tiny steps. He comes in with a big step to get a reaction, throws a man, and then kote. The distance, the ability to move the sword around, the sharpness of the strike, very amazing, very good. And one thing that I'm going to break down again is look at the feet, because all of this is only possible. It's brought to you by proper footwork. The stability that he's going to have at the moment of each technique. So immediately after he hits that fumikomi, he's coming in, and look at this thing, is crazy. He's bringing the kote before he lands on the ground. This is just ridiculous. So this fumikomi, what it does, it brings his body straight. Just think about this. If half your body is behind you, your stability is not there. Once he grounds himself, he's able to use his muscles, his core muscles and upper body muscles, to control his sword and actually go around and hit that technique. He hits it literally midair, and he's so good with that hikitsuke, with bringing the back leg forward, that he's almost even landing with the back leg before the front leg is landing. This is crazy. To me, this is a crazy kote. This is something that you don't necessarily practice at the dojo, but you get this ability through understanding proper footwork. So if you guys don't think that footwork is something that you should be paying attention to, watch this. Because if you have a different way of doing this, let me know in the comment. But I don't think there's any other way where you can actually have control of your sword without having that grounding on the foot. And he's able to do it in such a split second that is just amazing. It's incredible. Shen, welcome to the stream. Yeah, actually, yeah, maybe that should be. Maybe I have to have pristine footwork if I'm gonna use that as a slogan, though. Morai's amazing ability to redirect to the open in a split second so fast. Yes, and I'm gonna say, I don't know if he had the idea to go for the kote immediately when he missed the man, but it's just his ability to shift the direction of the sword that is done in such a sharp manner, in such a, like, I don't know. This is amazing. I am glad I got to see this. So new what's it called? New level to achieve, to reach. So yeah. Yes, it seemed like instinct, and that's the thing. I have this breakdown that I like to think about when it comes to the difference between shiai, testing, and practice, right? And let me try to remember it correctly and express it properly. But I see one of the main difference is not necessarily the way that you're going to execute the technique. It's how much attention you have in different places. So, for example, for testing, especially at lower levels, your attention has to be high when it comes to what you are doing, right? You want to show proper kendo. You don't want to do any weird stuff. So your processing power, your computer power, spends a lot of energy on thinking about yourself. In shiai, you want to more spend, especially at the lower levels, processing power on just thinking, where's the opening, and just getting there, right? But as you start leveling up, or as you start going higher, for testing, your processing power and your attention to your opponent, your attention to yourself and the attention to all your opponents start becoming more even, right? So, and in shiai, you also want to think about what can you do to make him make a mistake and take advantage of that. So here at this point, there are many things where he is not concerned about how he's going to look, that he's able to just, and again, I'm assuming that here his processing power is so much into where is the opening. He's not really caring about how he's going to look. What he needs to do to do proper kendo, he's just going for the technique. And because he has so much training on his basics, he doesn't have to worry about being able to have proper footwork, proper posture, because those things, the reason why we stress so much in proper posture and footwork and so on is so that way we don't have to think about it, and things like this are possible. Because just imagine if he was somebody with the bad habit of dragging the back leg. It's impossible. He would have gotten this ippon, and it's impossible that he would have looked like this at the moment of the kote, right? He probably would have been like reaching over and so on. So it's the fact that basics have a reason, and I know that we want to just be better and do better and so on and just be stronger and faster. But the foundation, the basics have a purpose. And a big reason for that purpose is so your body learns them, understands them, and then you don't have to think about them. I used to use this analogy for previous work that I had, where our first reactions, our natural reactions are not normally the best ones, right? So for example, if you think about it, if somebody comes with a bat to somebody, the first reaction of that person might be like to go like this, right? But this is not gonna do anything. But if they train, then they're able to actually have a more appropriate response, whether it is to run away or to do a technique to defend themselves and take the bat. But this takes training, and this takes a lot of basic training, right? So I think it's the same thing here. These things are natural, and of course there's a lot of mental aspect to it, but basics. So, okay, now that I ranted about basics, Jake, I'm gonna catch up with some of the comments. More rice, hours and hours training and dedication. Yes. Jake, you really wish you could figure out what to do to build up the stability and strength for that kind of footwork. Just do more, man. Just do more. One of the things that I like to do is I do footwork across the dojo and then start adding techniques to it, like kote men do, and so on. Build it up, and that way you start creating that continuity. Kakarigeko says more Kakarigeko. That is correct. That is also correct. Yes. And Kakarigeko, sorry I didn't brought that up first, but I was assuming that what he can do on his own. So yes, but if you have a partner, more Kakarigeko, totally. Galaxy, yeah, it's really amazing. Yeah, that kote is really amazing. Jan, you said that you agree, but you're saying you can achieve this only through the practice of basics. It's also experience. Yes. Experience, and it's not just practicing the. Okay, because this is the point where I'm at right now as well. When it comes to analyzing all the stuff and breaking it down, we have to break down the basics. We have to understand them, but you have to do them, and you have to do more. You have to do so. It's not like you're gonna be in front of a mirror understanding how to move your footwork, how to move your feet, and how to move your sword, and then when you go to the dojo, you're gonna be great and amazing. No, you also have to apply them. You have to practice them, and so on. So thank you, Jan, for bringing that up, because correct. Freedom, that was improper spacing. Going for Menwasa to the tip is risky. He recovered by hitting the cut. Not sure if it was accidental or man hit. I mean, it was improper spacing. Again, it's life. These guys are 7 dan, so he saw something that gave him the desire to go for that technique. I don't think that he meant to do that men towards kote after. I think he just took advantage of the opportunity that presented itself. But as a matter of fact, we can go back and actually see what did he see. I think he came in with a lot of energy from the beginning, and he was focused on on hitting so far. But maybe, actually, no, I think he missed on purpose. I think he missed that man on purpose. He did it so light. He did that man so light that I actually think he did miss it on purpose. So I don't think the spacing wasn't correct. I think he did it on purpose to get him to move his hands. I don't know what you guys think. You think this was do you think that this was a purposeful miss on the man, or did he actually intended to go for men to then get the kote? Let's watch it full speed first. And one more time, slow motion. Wait, hold on. Okay. Okay, the question is again, do you feel this man was on purpose, or did he do the man to get the kote? One thing I'm going to say is that if you notice, let's watch in slow motion. If you notice, I feel that this first step he tried to get a reaction. He didn't get it. So then he threw the hands in to get the reaction, to then get the kote. The reason why I think it was a purposely missed on the man is because his strike was kind of light, in the sense that immediately after the hit, he went around. It could also have been that he knew that he was going to miss it and then he readjusted earlier, but just let me know your thoughts. Okay, I did that twice, guys, so that way you get some time for people to reply. But look like a real man based on how much of his effort he put into it. Probably both, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that he meant to do a miss man. This is based on the fact that first he threw that footwork, and then he just threw that footwork with the hands. Again, we're assuming we just no wrong answers, okay? Kakarieko, you said it's probably on purpose because the distance was huge, but his fumikiri wasn't very big. Yeah. So like it's it could be, and maybe the fumikiri wasn't really big because he knew he needed it to come in for that kote. So very, very crazy. Oh man, I love this Ippon. I loved this Ippon. So, if you guys watched a few days ago, one second, I posted a video of me doing a kashido, and somebody in the video posted out that, like, if I normally have my right hand always so relaxed, right? And I actually had to go put my kote on and see it, and I'm gonna tell you this. My hand is relaxed, and as I approach my opponent, what I like to do, I like to avoid any extra tension. So I over relax maybe as I'm approaching the opponent, but I'm not relaxing my whole hand. I'm trying to make sure that my wrist is loose and my pinky and my ring finger are holding firmly my sword. I'm not opening my hand like this, right? But because of the skin of the kote and the way that a kote is bigger than your hand, I think it makes it look like your hand is open. But in reality, for me, I'm holding it tight here, but I'm trying to relax these other fingers. I don't know if you guys can see it. Hold on, let me see my camera. Oh, you guys cannot see it. Sorry. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hold my sword mostly with the pinky and the ring, and relaxing these fingers and relaxing my wrist. And I'm talking about my right hand, right? Because my left one is a little bit firmer, but it's firmer than my right. So for my right, I try to hold it with these fingers and cradle my sword on the middle finger, right? So it almost looks like the hand is open, especially when you have the kote on. If you look at it right now. But it's not open, if that makes any sense. Yeah, and you said when we started the motion, you don't think it was started to miss, but since the opponent moved back, he changed his strategy midair and not miss first and go to switch to the kote after that. Yeah, totally. I can totally see that. Galaxy, you just put a line. I don't know what that means. Thank you for commenting. When you slow it down, he was close to hitting men. You think you think that he went for the men, and then instinctively hit the kote. Might have adjusted a split second. Yeah, and this is what's amazing about this. How many interpretations? I agree with Kendo, with Yan. Cool. And guys, I'm gonna say thank you guys for being here, because this is what I want this to be about. That we discuss these things and then we see different perspectives. It's not about me telling you, okay, this is what it was. No, because we're assuming we're doing this to learn. And again, I don't think regardless, this is a practice that we do just to do it, to learn it, to do like that, right? We cannot do this kote men just because, or men kote, just because, okay, I'm gonna practice that today. No, this is something that has to come out with instinct. So regardless of that, we can at least say, okay, we're going to practice this. We're going to practice and try to develop to a higher level, because now we can see this. So I love you guys giving me your input. So I don't know why I went so long in a tangent there. Grimir, thank you for passing by. He did not get a reaction at first, so he threw his all to his strike man just to get the reaction. So risky, but yeah. So again, it could be that he did it on purpose. It could be that anyways. Thank you for the input. Okay, and this is the reason why I wanted to stop this out for a second. So if you notice, there's a change between the tension, and I hate this little window that they put here. I'm sorry guys for that. But if you see here, there's a moment where he engages the hand more, right? To kind of get a sharp motion. If you look at that, he does this. Let's try to play it. So another reason why I try to relax my hand is because when you do these squeezes throughout, you're able to get a little bit of a sharp motion, more than if you were to have your hands already so hard on your sore. If you are able to have a little bit of relaxation within that tension that you're supposed to have, you're able to get this snap. And for example, for me, I use this snap for like harai motions, suriage. I use that tension at the end for the shido, I guess. So it's kind of what gives you that tenouchi, right? So very interesting. I think like not something that you want to pay too much attention early on in your kendo, but if you're trying to copy what you see in videos, understand that when they're here, I want to make sure that nobody gets bad habits. When they're here, their hand is not open. It looks like that because of the way that the kote is bigger than the hand, and it makes it look like it's open, but it's not. I was about to say, am I watching it on regular speed? Sorry, guys. So this relaxation and tension that I'm talking about is especially useful in moments like this. You're gonna see how he kind of tries to knock the sword out of the way. So it's interesting because he's very confident now that he has that ippon, right? But he's not being as proactive as he was on that first attack. Maybe his opponent getting a little bit desperate. Oh. Yes, now we have to watch ski, right? Okay. So I think that the approach for that ski, let's go back a little bit more. Again, at this point, they re-engage immediately.
時間の方は5分
At this point, that engagement for that ski, it's happening. I feel that you can see the tension of his body kind of going into towards him. Very solid, makes him go back. He gives a little bit more pressure. Gives a little bit more pressure with his upper body, right? And then he goes in directly for that ski. So let's have a little bit of assumption and discussion again. Why do you think that on this time where he gave pressure, he didn't go back? So, more rice. You say go no sen or sen no sen is what you see, which is textbook 1-0 behavior. So, break it down a little bit more in English. And the reason for that is just because I want to make sure that everybody kind of can follow along. Because I also, when you say 1-0 behavior, because remember, red is the one that's under, right? So he's the one being aggressor. But at this point, I feel that it's different. His attitude is different than it was maybe 10 seconds before. 10 seconds before, I think he was a little bit more erratic. But at this point,
時間の方は5分
そうですね。はい。
at this point, he's being a little bit more aggressive, especially when he goes for that, right? Like you have to have a lot of confidence to go with that.
時間
そうですね。
But if you notice,
で
one reason that I'm going to say why didn't he move back before he came in and approached him for that ski, I think, is because at this point he has gone back a couple of times because his opponent made him go back with his body in tension, with his pressure, right? And at some point, when we get into that habit of like, oh, I went back once, I went back twice, it's like you start telling yourself like, no, I cannot go back anymore. So this could be one of the reasons why. The other thing that I'm noticing and that I'm trying to figure out is that if you saw early on, red was a little bit reckless on the attack and white was being very static in the sense of kind of letting him know, you're not going to move me, right? I'm ahead, but you're the one that needs to do the work. And whatever you do, you're not going to move me. This is kind of a little bit of the conversation that I felt like it was happening at this point right here. Right? Like this type of deflection and so on. Kind of like, you do the work. I already did my job. So at that point, maybe I feel that here again, he's being very defensive again. And maybe this is the reason why Red said, you know what? Let me switch it up.
そうですね。はい。ああ、突きだ。
So again, it could be a different thing, but I'm saying when you're in the match, one thing, for example, that I really like about Eiga Sensei is that I feel that his computer, his processing power is always focused on learning what the opponent does and what is it doing and how he can use that information later in the match. So I'm trying to think about it this way. What habits is my opponent having? So at this point, I noticed that he's kind of being very, at the beginning, he was very aggressive, but now he's the completely opposite. If you see this part of the fight, you see the beginning, you can tell you would say, oh, these are two different kanji, right? But it's about what's happening at that moment. So he's paying attention to it and he's doing something differently. Now, regardless whether he scored that or not, I think that sends a message to the opponent, said, watch out for this guy. So I can expect for him to now do things a little bit differently. What is who you're referring to? Red must get the point back, so they are sen no sen, sen no sen. Okay, yeah. So no, what the question that I was asking before is like, why do you think that white was kind of like just flat-footed at that point when he got attacked with that ski?
出ましたね。ルイは取られてましたけども。はい。
どうだっていう
But yeah, thank you.
ちょっと見てましたけども、
そうですね。機会が十分でなかったかなと。まあ、ルイには当たってましたけども。
So discipline. I agree with you. White is getting too relaxed, and I think it is not necessarily relaxed, but it's also trying to frustrate his opponent, right? But I agree with you. He's not being the same Kenshi that he was at the beginning of the fight. And now that Red almost got that Tsuki, I think now he's like, okay, I need to do something different because I still have a lot of time to go. And Morais says, Go no sen, think of Ojuwasa. Sen no sen, think the Banawasa. Sen no sen, sen no sen initiates. So Shikakawasa, right?
いい打点が森光一郎、大阪府警、橋本選手は5回目の出場、友井選手は初出場になります。
So now I feel that the fight is coming into like a same level type of thing, right? Like now both of them are kind of being aggressive and defensive at the same time. Ah, White now went back to defensive. Oh. Now this time I feel like he was prepared. Right? Now this time he said, nope, you're not gonna get me with that one. And great opportunity. I was wondering where the Hiki was I was going to be in this tournament. He went again with the same Tsuki. He tried to get it, but White managed to kind of like make a little bit of distance and save himself from that one. But this time, so interesting enough, on the first time, actually, he did try that man, but Red was solid, and then when the man came, he dodged, right? This time, he came in already with a tilted head, and maybe that's really the reason why White could get it. But very fluid. Another reason for me to say Hikiwaza is not gone, guys. Hikiwaza is still there. You gotta know how to do it effectively. Discipline. White is being relaxed in his thinking by being 1 point up and probably wants to use the clock in his favor instead of closing that match with a second point. Huh, maybe, yeah, this is normal to see. It is a little bit more difficult to do that now with the provisional rules, which seems to be now permanent rules, but it's still something possible to do, right? And something that you want to be very careful. So now this fight is, and guys, this is going to be the last fight we're gonna do for the day because I have to go at some point. But okay, so this one is, I believe, Matsusaki and Sasagawa. Let me see. Right? If I have somebody, yeah, I think, yeah. I'm gonna remind everybody that if you would like to be part of the Discord server, if you're new to the channel, we have a Kendo Tips Discord server The link should be coming up soon. And there you can join it, meet other Kenshis. And also if you would like to send me some videos for me to analyze, break down, and give you some feedback, feel free to do so there. Contact me there and I will do that for you. Okay, this a very sharp.
そして準々決勝2試合目。
The control here, I love the control here when it comes to the approach with the feet, the grounding of the feet, and the ability to quickly and sharply throw that man. Very nice, very interesting. Look how close the footwork is. And his opponent kind of came in afraid, in the sense that as he closed the distance, he came in with intention to attack, but as he closed the distance, he threw his tip away and the intention away from the opponent, and all he could do was block and almost cost him an Ippon.
松脇選手と佐川選手。
Very nice. I don't know what is it that I was like, there's going to be a point here. It is that moment of, I don't know. I don't know if it happened for you guys on this one. Watch one more time.
面だ。松脇選手ですね。
Very, very interesting Ippon. First thing I can see is red has a lot of initiation and pressure, right? And maybe it's making white feel I'm close to the border or something, and I need to go in, I need to do something, I need to return that pressure. Red starts going back. He goes back with the left, takes a step, but he doesn't fully take the step back and immediately goes forward. And that's enough for him to have the advantage and reach over and hit a nice man while white was approaching him. So a lot of the times we try to explore the opportunity to strike, and you know, one of the basic ways is to attack when the person is advancing, and you can see that very clearly here, right? He decides to go into the technique as his opponent is moving the forward foot. So at this point, he's not engaged, his sword is down. His intention is not really into a technique, he's just closing the distance. And red, he's coming with a technique while he's still in the process of taking the step. He decides to change, but because he reacted instead of being proactive, he was late, I think.
松脇選手ですね。
Very, very, very interesting.
ぶつかったのかな。
足を痛めたんですかね。左足をちょっと。
So he has, okay, this is the injury that Nick was talking about, I believe.
だかもしれないですね。
That sucks, guys. This sucks.
一回ちょっと、はい。
今のはリプレイとかはできないですよ。できない。できないそうです。
Let's see if we can go a little bit forward.
相手の膝の毛管みたいなのが入ってないです。
Oh, so they're gonna do a replay.
相当このこう膝だ
きますね。
選手がちょっと膝を痛めましたけども大丈夫そうですね。ちょっと我慢してるのか。
終わってすぐアイシングですね。
Look how light he moves the sword. Again, he's being defensive. Obviously, I'm guessing that he's thrown off by the fact that he can't really commit to using that back leg so much, right? Nice. Nice opportunity.
痛かったら痛かったで戦い方があるって言ってましたね。意味が分かんなかったんですけど痛めてたらそこを使わないで、
はい、やりますね。まあ、現役時代とかももうみんなどっかしら痛いところがあったりしますので、
White is closing the distance so much.
肉離れ系をちょっとしちゃってたりすると、
はい、
もう飛び込んでいかずに受けてやるんだとか、そんなことができるんだ。
I don't know what you guys think, but I feel that White is closing in so much, but then he's letting go of that pressure. Look, he approaches with the foot down, I mean, with the sword down.
優勝しましたもんね。だから一回鍋山先生もその時時代一緒でも出て準優勝しちゃうんですよね。出てよかったって言ってました。そういう戦い方ちょっとやっぱりなんかあんまり出ていかない。
多分踏ん張ると痛いと思うので、もう右で攻めて右でつけていくっていう感じだと思うんですよね。
Very tense, very tense. Oh, this, okay. Guys, give me 1 second, please. 1 second, be right back, okay? Sorry, guys. Had thing. I have to move something here. Okay. This is very interesting. Very interesting approach, right? Wait, it wasn't this one. Yeah, this man right here. And this is one of the parts where I want to break down when is the right moment to attack and what should you do to approach your opponent. This is something that I'm trying to break down, especially for the higher levels, right? And this is why I enjoy watching these competitions. He's coming in with a lot of aggression and a lot of momentum as he's approaching. In this one, he came in with a motion of the hands. Again, that feint of that motion is done while there is movement. If you do a motion to get a reaction and then you move, first you have the possibilities that even if there's an opening, you cannot capitalize on it. The other problem that many people tend to have when they try to do this is that they do it so fast that there's no pressure felt from the opponent. But if you see here, what he does first is that he starts moving the body, then move the sword. Look at the reaction that he got. First, his sword went down. The sword went down to try to suppress his opponent, but he missed. But then when he brought the sword up, immediately that back motion. And then he was able to commit to that technique. Now, this many times is successful, many times not successful. When do I believe this is not successful? When the person didn't overreact. Instead, they reacted, okay, but they didn't overreact, because a lot of times, you watch here, the way that his sword went down, oh, sorry, I went forward instead of back. When his opponent goes forward and his sword goes down, his sword doesn't overshoot it. He's not overly tense. He's trying to observe. If you get too tense, you're not really looking at what's happening. So he's trying to suppress the sword. He missed, but because he didn't overreact, he was able to then later on engage his hands to also help it protect himself. A lot of the times, if there is a lot of tension, it takes more time for you to be able to re-engage the hands. So something to keep in mind, hopefully something you can use on your favor. And I think that the biggest reason for it, that he was able to do it this way, is because his intention is towards his opponent. He's trying to make a reaction and he's engaged into the fight. He's not just there. Hope that makes sense. I am so happy that we got to see 2 Hikiwasas on this stream. I still hear people say Hikiwasa is gone. No, Hikiwasa needs to be performed sharply and effectively. And I think this is a good showing on when to do Hikiwasa. So White missed the kote, and look at the body posture after the kote. So in here, it's very hard because it's not only that his hands are out, but also the front of his body, it's out of away from his opponent. So it's very easy for his opponent to get a wide open man. Now, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this stream today, analyzing approaching your opponent at the moment of strike. I believe White had a really good opportunity. I think he did a lot of things right in order to try to get this Ippon. First thing, he approaches him with intention. His tip is forward and he is coming in with solid footwork. Now here he opened this up without any motion on the feet, he doesn't get a reaction, right? It's kind of what we're talking about. But here, he comes in almost, what does it look like to you guys? What does it look like to you when he's doing this approach here at this moment? What do you think he's going to do here? Yeah, until that point. Until this point. So before he goes up to this point right here, to me at least, it looked like he's gonna go for men. So Red feels forced to kind of protect the man, right? And he's able to go around and throw the kote into that. I think he probably even had a good impact. I don't know, because obviously the angle of the camera is not favorable for that, but he had a good opening. He had a good execution as well. He just didn't get it. It happens. right? But instead of throwing his body sideways, I feel that he should have thrown his left hip towards his opponent to stay in center and avoid this.
あめんな。めんどくさい。
One more time.
選手が一本取りましたけど、
あめんな。めんどくさい。
So this is a very, very sensible spot to be in. You want to avoid leaving yourself open for the opponent. These new rules are not going to save you just because you think, oh, Hikiwasa is not allowed because you're not supposed to do it and it's tricky. It's like, no, guys, Hikiwasa is very much still there. And also you want to be engaged on the fight at all times. I feel almost like at the moment of the impact, right here, I feel that it was almost kind of he's saying, I got it. Now it's just a formality, right? But it wasn't.
あめんな。
You see, he even turned around.
あめんな。
一本取りましたけど、
Look at his head right here. He kind of like, And then when he gets hit, he's still not even looking at his opponent. Then he just looks at the judges. So, very, very important, guys. First, don't be looking at the flags. The way I like to look at the flags is that I try to put my opponent between the shimpan and me, right? That's the only way I will try to look at a flag. And obviously, while I'm in control and so on, I'm not doing it all the time. Saying, if only in this situation, I'll be careful. But if not, you just keep going until they scream at you, yame, right? Because it's better to just stay engaged in the fight and be safe rather than not be sure and something like this happening. So yeah, this is my, I guess, tip of the day, my Kendo tip of the day. Guys, so I don't know what you picked up from today's stream, from all the breakdowns that we did today. I believe that a big part that is missing from Kendo outside of Japan is the communication and the understanding how to approach the opponent, and also at the same time, when is the right opportunity to attack, when is the right moment to attack. I experience it a lot and I see it a lot on people. I'm not saying that everybody does this, right? Not everybody has this fault. And it's a conversation that I had a few years back with a sensei that he's from Japan. He lives in Japan, but he lived, I think it was like 7 years outside of Japan. And the first question that I asked him is, what do you feel is the biggest difference besides, the amount of training that Japanese kenshi get? What is the biggest difference between their kendo and our kendo? And the first thing he told me, and the main thing he told me, is the lack of communication, right? And all these moments where you have the sword in front of you and your opponent has the sword in front for yourself, you have to try to understand that you're not just blindly going, right? You're trying to do, whether it is to feel the opponent's sword, suppress it, or tricking him into moving it out of the center. You always have to get an idea to do it. Mainly is going to be experience. This is the part that, okay, you can train some basics, but you have to apply them, and you have to apply them with as many people as you can. I'm not gonna say that my kendo is the best. It's not. But my kendo grew so much once I started traveling, because I'm able to understand people's behaviors and people's pattern. And I'm not saying that I am able to do it, but I'm better able to do it. And it is because of communication with other people. So same thing that you get better at speech by doing speeches. Same thing. You do better communication when you try different communications, I guess, or more communications. Moraes, you watched it during the All USKF semifinal. Players look at the judges thinking the opponent got the Ippon when they didn't. then they got stuck giving a free Ippon. So yes, and as a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you this. A lot of times you get hit. I don't get this at all. I don't understand why people do this. You get hit and then you look at the judges. No, stop this. Stay on the fight. Stay on the fight, because even if you didn't get hit, and or even if you did get hit and the Shimpan didn't recognize it, then they're gonna say like, huh, did I miss this point? Should I have given that? So this takes away the eyes away from your opponent. Anyways, guys, let me say this. Let me just share this. I'm trying to bring a friend of mine that is a sports psychologist to share her knowledge of sports psychology in Kendo as well, because she also does Kendo. So if you could send me any questions that you would want me to ask in that stream, especially if you pass by the Discord server, it will be ideal. What I was gonna say, I'm gonna send out the link here on the chat. Wait, if you would like to become a member of the channel, it really helps this channel, bringing you more stuff and setting up all this stuff. It really helps out. If you would like to be a member of that, we have different perks and a couple different benefits that you get from that. But I will appreciate that if you at least could check it out and let me know what your thoughts are. That being said, again, if you have any questions about sports psychology or something you want me to ask her, send it my way. If you have any questions for me, you can also send them to me. In the Discord server, you can also send me your videos and we can watch them together and get some feedback into what is it that you were looking to improve in your Kendo. I will gladly do that for you guys, okay? So if there's no other question, if there's nothing else I can help you with, I'm gonna cut it off at this point, guys. Thank you very much, everybody that passed by. If you haven't, please take a second to hit the like button. Please share this stream with people and this channel with people that you want their Kendo to improve and you will think you find them interesting, because I will also appreciate the feedback that I will get from them to make this channel better for you guys, okay? You guys keep me motivated and keep studying, practicing, and learning and being better in Kendo. So I appreciate you guys for even just for being here. I appreciate that. So again, remember the Discord server is completely free. Feel free to pass by and it's a good way to stay in touch, okay? Thank you for passing by. Really appreciate you. And without anything further to say, thank you very much, guys, for being here. And I'll catch you guys. I'll try to do another stream during the week. If not, I'll definitely catch you up on Saturday, okay? Take care, guys. Have a good one, guys.